Alexa, what's the temperature?
The current weather is 49 degrees Fahrenheit.
Alexa, volume 5. Alexa, what's the temperature?
The current weather is 49 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can look for partly sunny weather with a high of 51 degrees and a low of 30 degrees.
Now, I live in an apartment in New York City. And the law is if the weather is below 50, it's supposed to be heat on in the house. Now, we are probably the only apartment building on this block that has no heat right now. Now, there's some apartments who has heat on all day. And no one is even in the apartment because they either at work or in school. But at least when they come home to a warm apartment. It's sad when you outside and coming from outside in the freezing cold and you gotta walk inside an apartment that's colder than outside. It's sad when you're sitting in your apartment and it feels like you're outside. Like literally, like it's freezing in your apartment. And the landlord or the super don't want to put the heat on. That is, come on now. In the New York law is if the weather's under 50 degrees, you have to have the heat on. Every apartment in New York City, the law, you supposed to have heat on. Now, my son and I have asthma, and we need to be in a warm apartment, and being cold is bad for asthmatics. The cold air is bad for asthmatics. So if you come into a cold apartment, that defeats the whole purpose. Like, you literally come from outside to get inside to be warm. But literally, you're still freezing inside your own apartment. I don't get that. Everybody else on this block has heat. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the building that's new next door that no one moved into has heat. And no one is even there. And there's heat in that apartment. No one is even there. Out of all the apartments on this block, we have to go move into the apartment building that the super is cheap. Now, that's crazy to wake up in the morning in a cold apartment. Like, out of all the places I lived, not bragging, I'm just saying, out of all the places I lived, we always had heat. Go to bed with heat, wake up. Well, I'm not going to say because I'd be out the house majority of the day because, when I work. But the days when I'm off or something, is heat all day. Not here is not. You got to have on your long sleeve. You got to have on a sweater. You got to have on a long pair of pants, socks, your hood sweater, and a blanket over you to be warm. I remember one time it was like 30-something degrees and there was no heat on in this place. Now, that's sad. Now, my son and I wound up sick. A lawsuit, a court, for real, 311. Hello. This residence don't have no heat. My son and I, and my son, he gets sick a lot. When the weather changes, that's when, like when it's from hot to cold, when it goes from hot, like spring, like summer to like fall, and then like fall to winter, like when the winter changes, like one day when it's hot, and then the next day, boom, it's cold, and then it gets hot again, it's cold, and it's cold, So that's how I was when I was younger. I would get sick, when the weather changed, but your apartment, especially in the wintertime, should be at a certain temperature. Like if it's 51 degrees outside or 49 degrees outside, your apartment should be warmer than the temperature outside. But it feels like I'm standing outside and I'm in my house. You know, I go in the kitchen, it's freezing. And I'm telling you, when the weather drops a certain amount of temperature, our kitchen and my son's bedroom is like Western beef walk-in freezer. Now that's bad. I could put food, I could put liquid on the windowsill in my son's room and it'll be ice. I'm not exaggerating. It be that cold. It be that cold. Like he can't even sleep in his own room because there's no heat. And I'm telling you, even when the heat is on, it's still freezing in his room. And you know, that's not good, you know, because we got this apartment for him to have his own room and he can't even sleep in his own room. You know, the warmest room in this house will probably be the living room. I'm not lying to y'all. The living room is like the warmest place. And I got this heater too, you know. And what if I didn't buy the heater? But that heater only heats the living room up. It don't heat the kitchen up. It don't heat my son's room up. It don't heat our room up. It just heats, and it don't heat the bathroom up. It just heats the living room up. But you got to close all the doors for the heat to, you know, stay in the living room. And it gets really toasty in the living room. Like, that's how it's supposed to be without that heater in this apartment. You know? What if I didn't buy that heater? I bought that heater because it looked nice. It would look nice in the living room. Like, no lie, that heater kept us from being frozen in the wintertime. You know? And it's sad when you can't even sleep in your own room in the wintertime because it's so cold and the heat don't come on. Or if it is on, it's not heating up the apartment enough to keep us warm. You know? That's very dangerous for anybody. An elderly person, a asthmatic person, a newborn. This is very dangerous. Like, if I was to have another child, we could not live here in the wintertime. That, you know, that God forbid the baby would freeze. And it would be a lawsuit on somebody's hands. Because I don't play when it comes to my child. You know, like, I don't play like that, you know. When it comes to my child, it's serious. But come on now. No matter what you tell them, like, oh, my son has, do you think they care? And I don't even think the landlord knows what's going on, like what the super is doing or slummature is doing. You know how you say slumlord or like slumlord for landlord and like super for slummature for super? I don't know. But yeah, so this is my rant. And I just wanted to say how I feel because I don't think the super cares about his tenants. Because if he cared, the things would have got fixed around here that needed to be fixed to keep my son's room from being a walk-in freezer. So if he don't care, you know, but he also, okay, I ain't gonna go into that. That's another video. I ain't even do my intro, but anywho, thanks for listening, because you know you don't see nothing, but thanks for listening, you guys. Hear me ranting about this apartment and all that, you know. So as of now, that second bedroom is like a storage room because nobody can sleep in that room. You will freeze in that room, you know. So I know what it's time for us to do. I know. Because every year after year, nothing gets changed. Nothing gets fixed that needs to be fixed. So I'm just wasting my breath, you know, talking. But I just need to get these words out, get this off my chest because this has been bothering me. But when that rent comes around, when it's time for the rent, oh, they banging on the door. Oh, where you going to send the rent? You know, but things need to be done. But you want the rent, but things need to be done. All right, y'all. Peace.